Each and every one of us relies on the ocean. This is a quote from Janice Searles-Jones, CEO of Ocean Conservancy, an organization dedicated to fighting the greatest threats to our oceans today. I personally care a lot about our effect on the oceans, which is why I try to use reusable water bottles and try to minimize my plastic footprint. I've always had a general sense of how extensive the damage to our oceans is, but I just didn't know how incredible it was until I completed my research on this topic. Our oceans have been around since the beginning of time, are home to millions of diverse life and species, and they have a daily effect on our lives, whether we realize it or not. This is why it is imperative to preserve our oceans' health so that we can have a better life ourselves. I'd like to talk about why our oceans are so crucial to us and to our planet, the effects that the human race have had upon the oceans, and what organizations are working on saving our oceans today. Let's begin with how our oceans are vital to our survival and well-being. According to the National Oceanic Atmospheric Association, a service that donates data and tools to coastal economies, anywhere from 50% to 80% of the entire world's oxygen comes from the oceans. This is due to the abundant plant life and a species called phytoplankton, which can actually photosynthesize and produce oxygen. Believe it or not, 50 to 80% is a higher percentage of oxygen than all of the rainforests in the entire world combined. We also get a large portion of our food from the ocean. Think of any seafood place that may have fresh caught seafood. According to our friend Dr. M. Sinjayan, a senior scientist and contributor at Conservation International, over 15% of the world's high-quality protein comes from the oceans and is often the primary or only source of high-quality protein for 1 billion people. We also use a lot of everyday products that have elements that come from the ocean, such as kelp, which can be found in shampoo and cake mix. Carrageenan, which is an additive derived from seaweed, can also be found in peanut butter, various cosmetics, and even toothpaste. Now that we have an idea of the importance that our oceans have on us and our daily lives, let's talk about how we as a race have polluted and contaminated our oceans. The first way we've harmed our oceans is through incessant overfishing. Overfishing is defined by the American Heritage Dictionary of the English Language as to deplete a stock of fish by excessive fishing. We've seen a decline in various species, especially in sharks and rays, due to overfishing. It is estimated that over 100 million sharks are caught and finned every year. Shark finning is unfortunately a brutal process where the shark is brought on board, all of its fins are cut off, and it is thrown back into the ocean to sink to the ocean floor and suffocate, because without its fins it cannot move and it cannot breathe. According to The Conversation, a source of analysis for researchers, 75% of sharks and rays are currently considered threatened, and this percentage is even higher in the tropics and subtropics. Now, we may be thinking, well, if a shark goes extinct here or a shark goes extinct here, it may not even, have any importance. But with one species dying, that puts the entire food web at risk, and then the entire oceanic ecosystem is overturned, leading to mass extinction. The second way is through ocean acidification, which is defined by the Dictionary of Physical Geography as a reduction in pH levels over an extended period of time due to an uptake in carbon dioxide levels. Well, what does this mean for sea life? Well, with an increase in carbon dioxide levels over the past 200 years, the ocean has become more acidic and there have been less carbonate ions, which is an important building block for species such as seashells, clams, oysters, and even coral reefs. Without these carbonate ions, these building blocks, they have a much harder time building and producing a skeleton and staying alive. The final and most impactful way we have harmed our oceans is by dumping our waste into them. It is estimated that 8 million metric tons of plastic waste is dumped into the oceans every single year, according to Britta Hardesty, a senior research scientist at the World Economic Forum. According to the same World Economic Forum, by 2050, there will be more plastic than fish in the ocean in terms of weight. Well, why is this relevant to us? Besides the fact that it's just irresponsible for us to dump our plastic into the oceans, it can also kill a lot of sea life. The most common example is plastic getting caught on sea turtles, or when they eat it, it can puncture their gut, clog their intestine, or even if they eat enough of the plastic, it will clog up to the gut to where they cannot digest it and they will actually starve to death. It can also get caught around the neck of various birds or get caught in the fins of other fish, which can harm them and then lead to death. While unfortunately this tragedy continues, there is hope for the future. There are multiple organizations working on combating these changes today, such as Team Seas, Ocean Conservancy, and the one that I support, the Ocean Cleanup. The Ocean Cleanup is a non-profit organization working on not only stemming the flow of plastic into the oceans by stopping it in the rivers, but also cleaning up existing trash in the oceans that is already there. It was founded in 2013 by 18-year-old Boyan Slat, and since then it has gathered a team of over 210 researchers and scientists, 2 different types of robots that are working autonomously to clean up trash, and they are working towards a 90% plastic waste reduction by 2040. Now that you know how the ocean affects us daily, I encourage you all to donate any amount, however big or small, to help fight these terrible shifts in our oceans today. If we don't act and help stop these awful changes, it won't just be a faraway dilemma that never affects us and we only hear about it on the news. It will come to our doorsteps and affect us personally in our day-to-day life, which is why we need to work together to fight these problems. Finally, let's cover what I've talked about so far. Oceans are of paramount importance to our planet and to our species, which is why it is essential that we reverse these heartbreaking changes that have been wrought upon our oceans by our own species. It is imperative that we work towards the future, which is why I ask you to consider donating to the ocean cleanup to help them in their mission. Think about all this that I've shared with you the next time you use a one-use plastic water bottle or throw away a recyclable item, because as stated before, each and every one of us relies on the ocean. Thank you.